If you sleep less than 8 hours a day, watch this entire video. Especially if you're sleeping less than 6 hours. This is even more important, but I just want to kind of preface this with, for many years I got by on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, no problem. And 6 hours was considered a lot for me for a lot of years, and I literally could not sleep more than 6 hours, or at least I thought. I never really tried to force myself to, but it was just one of those things where, like, if I was asleep for 6 hours, I was in shock that I slept that long. I've always seen a lot of people that say you don't need more than 6 hours, and they say 6 to 8 hours is healthy. And recently, within the last year, I got put onto this device called Whoop, WHOOP. I'll put the link in the description in case you're interested in checking it out. But what it does is it monitors your heart rate, it monitors your activity, it monitors your sleep, your stress levels, and it gives you a breakdown of how your sleep and your activity level and your heart rate and all that and your stress level and how it all is working together and how it all affects each other. At the time that I got this device, I was actually sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a week, and I was going through a more stressful time than usual, and I was doing things that caused me to get even less sleep than I was typically getting, because I was still doing like 5 to 6 hours of sleep, pretty much regularly. But at this particular time, it was like 4 or 5 hours of sleep I was averaging per night. Generally, like I said, I was always good with 5 6 hours of sleep. I could throw in a 4 hour night of sleep here and there and still be okay, as long as I was getting 5 or 6 hours other nights. And I was able to make up for it by, for the most part, I was getting six, probably half the time getting five, throw in a 4 hour night here and there, and it's okay. But in this particular time period, there was a couple of weeks where it was like I never got more than five. And it was like more nights than not, it was like 4 hours, 4 hours and 37 minutes. And not only that, but my sleep schedule was erratic. So I wasn't just falling asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning every single time, or 1 o'clock in the morning every single time. It was like one night I'd go to sleep at 3 a.m. One night I'd go to sleep at 2:30. One night I'd go to sleep at 4. So everything was like kind of scattered. I learned a lot about sleep during this because after a couple of weeks of this routine, it started to actually affect me to where I felt a lot more anxiety, a lot more stress. I was getting more headaches. I was just feeling lethargic throughout the day. I wasn't able to concentrate and focus on things I needed to focus on. And I was looking at the results of this Whoop bracelet and the analytics it was giving me. And that's when I was realizing the problem with my sleep, because I really wouldn't have sat there and counted how many hours of sleep I was getting every night if I didn't have this device tracking it for me. And what the device was also telling me too is that because my sleep schedule was so erratic and I wasn't even sleeping at the same times every night, that even the hours of sleep that I was getting weren't going to be as effective for me, and they weren't going to give me as much REM sleep, and they weren't going to give me as much rest as I actually really needed. So that's where I started to say, well, let me see what happens and how good I can feel if I force myself to go to sleep at the same time every night, and I force myself to actually get a good night's sleep. And so I did a couple of things that helped me start achieving like 6 hours of sleep, 6.5 hours, 7 hours of sleep. And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm sleeping this much. I was using like, now to this day, I've never stopped doing it. I use like an eye mask that keeps the light out of my eyes when I'm sleeping. I use tart cherry and magnesium, which, if you look up the benefits of tart cherry, it increases your melatonin, and the magnesium is good for rest. It relaxes your muscles and things like that. So there's a lot of benefits to both in conjunction with one another especially when it comes to bedtime. So when I started getting this higher level of sleep and I was checking my stress levels, my stress levels were so much better. My recovery rates were so much better. My heart rate was better. I had all these improvements, and I just generally felt better all around. I found it easier to stick to my goals. You know, when it comes to work and when it comes to being productive, going to the gym, everything just started to fall into place. So the sleep has a major effect on you, and I just, if you think that you're doing okay with 6 hours or 5 hours or whatever you're getting, you owe it to yourself to just give yourself a shot. Give yourself a couple of weeks of trying to get a little bit more sleep and see how you feel. And I guarantee you, it's going to make a difference for you. So, if this was helpful to you, leave a comment, let me know. definitely subscribe and make sure you don't miss any future episodes of the Physical Wellness Journey. I'm going to be posting like I have been every single week. Try to give you guys some insight on physical health and wellness. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.